You ever been walking through the Navy Exchange and wonder why all the Naval Pride and Heritage gear is horrifically ugly and you wouldn't actually wear it? Have you ever wanted some really cool gear and you just don't know where to go? Well, I got you, fam. Go to dgutspodcast.com immediately. Get yourself some Naval Pride and Heritage gear you'll actually wear in public. We're working on new designs all the time, open to ideas. We're trying to create a brand that lets you display that pride, but doesn't make you cringe. Also, if you're willing to and you're able to, please go to patreon.com/dgutspodcast, pick one of the 5 tiers, and become a patron today. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Don't Give Up the Ship podcast. It's going to be the first show and tell episode that I do. Like I said with, in previous episodes anyway, I said, you guys helping us out through Patreon or getting YouTube monetized or buying DGUTS apparel or whatever, it helps us upgrade things, right? And as you can see, and I highly recommend doing so, watching this on YouTube, I'm able to now split screen this with 2 different cameras, right? So I got my new handy cam, thanks to Damo recommending that I get a nicer 4K capable handy cam because it's better. It's a much better picture. Gets better video quality and stuff. But then the old camera I now have on an arm so I can display certain things. And I'll turn them so you can see them better, because right now it's like a horizontal view vertically, but I'm still playing with it. But I'll turn them so that when I'm talking about them, you can see them better. But I have all these things. Like, you can see a little bit in the background when I'm doing podcasts, but I collect a lot of what people call militaria, right? Like, effectively, I mean, it's not memorabilia so much as it's they're like historical artifacts in my mind. I mean, they're things that, these are uniform items people actually wore or things people actually used. And I have a lot of stuff. Like, I've been collecting so on my very first shore duty, my chief showed me it's called the Cookbook of the United States Navy, and it's what the recipe service used to be. And there's a very robust submarine veterans organization in Groton, Connecticut, which is where my first shore duty was. That's kind of like the birthplace of the submarine forces, Groton, Connecticut, or New London, Connecticut, depending on it. It's naval base New London, but it's in Groton. But I don't know. The terms are sometimes used interchangeably when talking about that base, but there was a World War II veteran that used to come into the galley, and he would just eat. And back when retirees could eat, I think the rules have changed a few times since, but he would come in and he would just sit down with the best students, like the new submariners going through submarine school, and just talk to them. And it was really cool. And he would hang out, and my chief developed a pretty good relationship with this guy. And he ended up giving him a copy, like the 1945 copy of let me grab one. I should have thought of this. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but it's right here. So it was this version of it. Hang on, the best way I can hold this up. So this is the cookbook. I guess I can use my new way of doing it too. Hey, but this is the Cookbook of the United States Navy. This copy is, hey, let me align it. This is going to be like a bit of a shit show as I figure out how to do this best. But, so this one, it says revised 1944, and it's got a bunch of really cool stuff in it. And like, me being a CS and previously an MS, like, this kind of stuff is really cool to me. So when I first saw this book, I freaked out. I'm like, where do I get one of those? Oh my God. And I'm thinking these things are like exceedingly rare and it's going to take forever to find them. And I was looking in like bookstores and stuff for the longest time, and then someone told me, I forget who, but they're like, you should check eBay. And I was like, eBay? Really? You think shit like this would be on eBay? I figured I'd have to go to like rare bookstores or something. Sure as shit, there's so much stuff on eBay. And stuff you would never guess you would find. And that's the main place you'll see. It's very popular to collect anchors like these, combo cover anchors especially. And then I have I'll do an episode on submarine dolphins. I have a pretty good set of submarine dolphins in a case. I collect combo covers that you can see a few of them right there behind me. And I have a cool kind of like an 1890. I mean, it looks like an 1893 cover, but the device is like late 1800s, early 1900s. But anyway, so and I'll show you that cover later as an example. But and I'll do one on combo covers. I'll probably do one on, you know, all my Cook stuff. I have a really robust collection of really cool CS stuff. Like I think one of the cooler things I have is a menu. It's like the decommissioning meal that they had, like the last meal on board the USS Hartford, which is like, this is like the wooden ship, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead with Admiral Farragut. Like I have a menu from their last meal on board the ship, which I thought I couldn't believe that's not in a fucking museum. But like, you know, the CS stuff, it's less surprising because not as many people want to collect stuff like that. I hope that stupid thumbs up thing doesn't, it just did that thing like it does on live streams. I have no idea why. It's got to be a setting I can turn off. But anyway, so I'll do a bunch of episodes, but all that is to say, like, I found all this crazy stuff that, I mean, in my analysis, you know, like my opinion anyway, well, it's more opinion, like it should be in museums, but like you can get some really, really cool stuff on eBay. And I'm probably just making my collecting stuff harder by advertising this fact, but like combo cover anchors, like when I first started collecting them in like, it would have been like 2014, maybe 2015. It was less popular than it is now. It was a lot cheaper and a lot easier to find cool stuff. Some things were still very expensive. I'll tell you what I paid for some of this stuff. But it's much more expensive and much harder to find things, even though you still can. Like, and I highly recommend checking them out. And some of the anchors are affordable, and I'll go through that. But it's a lot harder to do stuff like this nowadays, even though you still can. And I highly recommend, there's a Facebook group. Let me find it really quick so I can put it out there for people. And there's very knowledgeable dudes. There's this guy named Jay Conti that's very knowledgeable, and he sells a lot of stuff too. Like he has a lot in his collection, and he's been selling a lot of it lately. But it's a cool anchor collectors group on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If not, I'll post it in the show notes. I'll post the link to the group in the show notes of the episode. So if you want to get into this, if you're a new chief or an old chief and you want to start collecting these types of things, that's a great place to be, because there's an exchange with other collectors that it's outside the realm of eBay, so you can kind of find some stuff you wouldn't be able to find previously. And I just got 2 really cool combo covers from Jay Conti recently, and my original one that I found on eBay is my favorite because it's in such beautiful condition, and I'll show that to you all. But the 2 I got from Jay are in great condition too, and they're fucking incredible. And I'm over the moon because it's really hard to find this stuff. So anyway, I paid way too much money for it too, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. And for clarity for listeners, all the money I pay for this stuff is out of my own pocket. This is a personal hobby. This is not a podcast thing. Like this, any money you contribute to the platform is not going to stuff like this. But anyway, so you can get a lot of stuff on eBay was my point. I highly recommend checking it out and search for anything that's relevant to you, like your warfare community. I'll do a whole episode on rating patches eventually. I have a ton of really cool rating patches going like all the way back, like some really cool like patches from like the early days, and some of them might be reproductions. It's hard for me to tell. I'm not a high level expert on this. I've done some research and I own some books, but like, you know, like sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between a repro and a original. And on eBay, they're not always honest about it, or they're just ignorant. Like you'll see people, one of their favorite things to put in some of these listings is like World War II era. And it's like not at all. It's like, or it's fake, or it's a present day item. And they're like, it's a World War II era. And it's like, no, it's not. But anyway, so you gotta do some of your own research, learn a little bit about it. Be kind of discerning about it. And that Facebook group's a great place to ask questions if you're shopping for something and it's like a cool anchor and you want it, but they're asking a couple $100 and you're like, is this worth it? You can go there and ask those kinds of things. So anyway, so let's get started. So you can see right here, I've got like a selection of anchors. And I have it's representative for the most part of all the changes that have happened. It's important to note that up until I this is something I need to research more, but up until I would say I would guess like the 60s, because like if you look at like when the establishment of Super Chiefs, if you look at one like this, and again I'm gonna have to get better at lining it up with the camera. I look such an idiot trying to do this. Anyway, this one is it's a low star anchor, right? This one, there's different versions of the Senior Chief anchor, and the Master Chief one seems to be pretty consistent. I haven't been able to find any that are like wildly different, but the Senior Chief one, there's low star, mid star, and like the present day design. I thought I owned a mid star. I have this collar device one that it is representative of that design, but I'm actually gonna try to zoom in right now. So. There, all right, let's see if it'll focus better. That way you can actually see what I'm doing here. Now I got to find where I can hold this, there we go. So I'll hold it this way, and that's pretty clear. All right, so you can see the star here is really low, right? The camera's like trying to focus on other things. I don't know why, but the star's pretty low. There you go. And when you look at one like this, you can see the star it's kind of like mid, and it's harder to see because this is a collar device anchor, but it's just a little higher up, right? And then present day, it sits up here on like the circle top part of the anchor on a present day Senior Chief anchor. So these two are examples of the mid star, and then this one here is the here, I'll turn them. So when they say like is an example of like the more of a low, this is the low star, this is the mid star, right? And then the present day one is higher up, right? So that part's kind of cool in that, but you can see, I'm sorry, that my point being, so this right here is, let me see. I need to like put a dot somewhere so that I have like a point of reference. You'd think I would have thought this through better. How am I not in front of it? Okay. Oh, there we go. No. I'm directionally challenged when driving too. So is it going to focus? Probably not. Come on, baby. No. Yeah. No. I'll try to edit this a little bit too, man. Oh man, I thought this was gonna. There we go. I just got to keep it lower. So this is a modern day combo cover anchor. This one is one of mine from when I was a chief. And when you look at like the low star version of the Senior Chief anchor, they're very similar in design, right? So except the star's low. So in my mind, it stands to reason that about the 60s, about like 1960-ish. Is when anchor production became standardized through companies like Vanguard, right? And again, don't quote me on that. Like somebody might actually have receipts for when that started. But what used to happen, and I know this from, I have a book on submarine insignia, and it's a very similar process, is back in the day, and there's markings on the back of a lot of old anchors that like validate this statement. But back in the day, people used to go to jewelers and have them they'd have to have them make anchors, right? Like there was no standardization, and there wasn't like a uniform shop exactly to go to and get standardized uniforms. You'd have to go to like a tailor and get stuff made, or what, I don't know what they would even, I assume they're called tailors. And same thing with like dolphins and other things, which like when we do the dolphin episode, I'll get into like enlisted dolphins used to be a patch on a sleeve at first, and then it evolved into the pins, but officers were always pins. So they have to have a jeweler make them, and they're like sterling silver or certain amount of gold or whatever. Like it's a jeweler making the thing. So you'll see those are going to be more expensive, not just because they're old and have the historical value and there's a demand for them because they're old, and the older they get and certain eras even are more in demand, but they're also like precious metals. So it's like, not unlike like today, they're like pewter, like they're not anything except like the value that it has to somebody that it means something to, right? So I'll zoom out a little bit here if I even do it right. There we go. I'll zoom out just a touch there. And then we're going to go over, we'll start at the earliest, if I can figure out where to hold this. You'd think? Okay, there we go. So this is an example of the original combo cover device. Oops, shoot, I dropped it. It's a reproduction because I have found a couple over time, but at the time I didn't want to spend $700-800 on one of these things. It's very, very similar to the buttons you'll see on like an officer or chief pea coat or dress whites, or even the little studs that screw into the chin strap on combination covers. But it's much larger, right? This thing is about the size of a $50. I want to say it's like 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches. And there's a few versions of it. I want to say it's like a 13 star and something else, like 11 or something like that. I don't remember. But the original combo cover device for chief petty officers was this. It's effectively like a button, right? And it would, like it has like this like cotter pin on the back with these two loops, and you would put it on there. Some of them were sew on devices, and we'll get that even when they changed to anchors, they would get sewn on either through a loop on a like metal device or even like an embroidered style device, which I have one of those here as well. And a lot of people don't even realize that it's become more of a popular thing nowadays, that like I think a lot more chiefs are aware of it now. But like back when I first started getting into this, like no one really knew that this was the original device. And so it's really interesting to try, like it's really difficult to find these. Some people don't even know what it is. So they think it's just a large button for something. So like I try to find them that way, because if they do know what it is, they're prohibitively expensive because they're so rare. But people have them out there, and I've been trying to get my hands on one. And if you know anybody that has an extra one, but yeah, it's hard to find an original authentic one. There's a company, and I forget the name, but there's somebody that has been making, it's like a retired chief that makes repros of these. So if you wanted to get one, you could, and they're not very expensive. But this was the original combo cover device, which I always found really strange and interesting, because like when you see the uniform pictures, it's like the rank was denoted by the sleeve patch, and then this is just, I don't know, like I think they just didn't have an idea, like they hadn't decided on the anchor yet. So they just made this and put it on there so that there was a device of some kind, because officers have the officer's crest or whatever, emblem, something like that. And we had a button. But then it evolved into an anchor, very much in the style of this one here, right? And these are like hang on, sorry, I'm gonna get it centered a little bit. These are like the heritage style anchors that you see. And it's like there's versions of this one being one of the older ones. This is like an 1896-ish to 1900-ish one, because a lot of people just assume this is like the World War II era one, and they're similar. And I have like, this is the only one I don't have on a combo cover, but like when you look here, I'll show you this is the combo cover I was talking about. I'm probably gonna have to zoom out for this a little. Whoops, wrong way. All right, there we go. I can zoom in a little bit. So this is the original combo cover style, right? This one is probably like 1900-ish. And you can see the anchor style on here is different from like the one I was just holding up. You see how the line on it, like the rope, anchor rope, or it's not chain at this point, it's a rope. It's like almost like a perfect circle at the bottom there. But then when you look at this style of an anchor, it's very different. It's very like you can tell this one looks a lot more polished and like symmetrical, where this one is just kind of it's cool and it's I love how it looks, but it's very different and it's very not symmetrical. It looks handmade, and I don't know, like the letters are a little different and stuff. But so this one is more World War II era, which is probably not even a period appropriate anchor for this cover. Let me go back. I have a little chart out. So this one is probably more, World War II era is what my little chart says. It could even be, well, World War I or II era, maybe. This is probably more of a World War I era, which would be early 1900s, which is in line with the style of combo cover. It's in line with the anchor. And then the more World War II would be, this is according to my little chart. It could be more of a circular style anchor like this. This is still like, God damn it, I keep moving it to the wrong spot. World War II would be more like this style of an anchor. Here, I'm going to put this cover down so I don't have to try to line two things up with a camera, and then I'm going to zoom back in here so you can get a better look at this one. So you can see there's very like similar design elements to the one that I just showed you on the combo cover, but the letters are starting to square up and have those sharper edges, like a more modern day anchor with the USN and stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus better. It's wanting to focus on the background stuff for some reason, and I'm not sure why, because like I would think that any logic in a camera would zoom in on what's in my hand. I probably need to get like almost like a glove or something that's dark. How am I so bad at this? I'm going to get trolled in the comments. It's probably because of the shiny ones here. Let me get these out of the way. All right, can you focus on what I want? There we go. I mean, that's pretty good. So you can see the letters are starting to square off a little bit more here. And the good Lord, I'm bad at lining this up. Okay, let's go down. There we go. All right, I'm going to make here we go. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make myself a target right now. I'm going to put this pink sticky note right where my hand is. And then so this is the center, and we're going to do it so that on camera, I can't even line up the sticky note. These are my spatial management skills. This is like, you should see my wife when I'm driving, and like I've lived in the same area for the better part of a decade, and I still barely know my way around. So yeah, I mean, this actually focuses a lot better too. Maybe the sticky note was the move all along. You just set it down and let you look at it and get my stupid meaty sausage fingers out of the way. But so this one being more of a World War II era, and you can see the differences in World War I, early 1900s. The rope is coiled much tighter, like it was done by hand with some pliers. And like the rope on the other one is still probably done by hand. A lot of the work is probably done by hand, but you see the letters are starting to square up a little bit more, like those almost like the stuff you'd see at like a university sporting event thing, like the numbers on a football field or something. I don't know. But even like the numbers on the side of a ship, right, is the style of writing that you see on the more modern anchors. So you can kind of see the evolution happening here. And so like you're looking at World War I, World War II era. So again, early to almost mid 1900s represented here, kind of. And again, they begin to evolve even more. So now post World War II, you're getting into more of a style with like, you see, you still got rope involved, and I'll leave this one here for reference, right? And then this one, you still got the curved letters, right? And you still got the rope, which it's a little harder to see. Let me see if I can zoom in just a touch, and maybe it'll still focus for me. Oh, I guess I'm zoomed in all the way. Sorry. That's as far as she goes. And you can see it's rope, not chain, right? The letters are pretty much the same as a present day anchor. They're a little smaller, and then of course they're still curving with the rope, or what then becomes the anchor chain for a while. And that, I mean, they maintain that till probably Vietnam era almost, maybe like Korea. So it changes over to chain, but you still have the curved letters, and then eventually you kind of get much closer to a modern day anchor, but still different until you get more into like the standardized style. And even then, I think even when you get into a more standardized style, it still didn't become like perfectly standardized, I don't think, until probably 70s and 80s, because you still get slight variations. Like they're very similar, but you'll still see like an N curved a little bit, or maybe the whole letters are just, there's a slight curve to them and they're not exactly straight, or the anchor's different a little bit, but it's still a modern day style. And you get it, that's when you get into really small details changing, stuff like that. But these ones are cool. I really love the ones like this that still have rope. And I wonder if, I don't think there's another one sitting here right now. Yeah, I don't see one with rope. This is kind of like the last one with the rope before it evolves into chain. So now I'm going to shove that one over and we'll get into like this style. So again, still curved lettering, right? But we're into an anchor chain. But it's not like on the standardized anchors, you can tell like on the more modern ones, right? So like this is the one that is the present style that used to be mine, right? So this one I used to wear on a combo cover, and it's hard to see it on the camera, but it's basically like it's almost all one piece, the anchor anyway, where it's like it's probably like pressed or something, or like poured into a mold, or I don't know how they manufacture it, but it looks like the anchor's one piece and then they add the letters, right? And it's like a mass production style thing, right? Where when you look at these ones, you can see like the anchor chain still like it's weaving in front and then in the back and then comes back around, and it's a separate piece to the anchor. Like you can see it like is in the front, and I can get my fingernail in between the chain and the anchor. And it's interesting because I like that about these older ones, because they just look more intricate. It just looks cooler to me. Like it looks more intricate. It looks, I don't know, like just more well made, in more of like a, I don't know, like a, maybe it's just my appreciation of old stuff. Like I like antique furniture. I like vintagey things. And I like with this, I don't know, it has more character to me. It's more complex. It's more interesting. And it just looks cooler. Like I was giving my buddy a hard time the other day because we were at the Chiefs pinning that I went to, that I posted the pictures and stuff. And my buddy always wears deep wave dolphins, which they're like the World War II era dolphins. That style anyway. And I always thought it was cool that he did that. And like I have a bunch of those. I never wore them. I don't know why. I used to wear old anchors all the time. I don't know why I didn't do dolphins. I probably did at one point, but anyway. And he didn't have them on because he couldn't find them or something, so he was wearing a different set. But like the reason I brought it up is because I think it's cool. I think it's interesting when you see stuff like that, because it's a cool little piece of history. It's like a conversation starter. It's fun. It's a teachable moment, even with junior sailors. But yeah, it's like so now we're into chains, and it's cool, but I gotta tell you, like, I mean, I prefer the rope, but it's still cool though. Like I still appreciate all of these things, which is why I spend all my time and money on this kind of stuff. All right. So on to more of like, these are probably more like Vietnam era. And in particular, I have like a unique device that was definitely, it was like, people that were on the ground in Vietnam, I believe, that were wearing like jungle greens. There's a very specific device that I'll show you here in a second. But this is a more of a, again, you can kind of see the modern anchor design coming through here. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, cancer nose. I apologize profusely to Damo today, because if you listen to me on Permission to Speak Freely, I was going every 5 seconds, and like I didn't even recognize I was doing it, because that's just cancer nose life, you know, like it just does things, and I didn't even recognize. I feel so bad because I did it. It seems like I did it the whole podcast. I haven't finished listening to it yet, but I'm sorry in advance when I do things like that. But this one's cool. It's still like the anchor itself is very similar to the modern anchor. You see like the size is different, right? Like you can see like there's some differences in, I kind of goofed that up. Let me get this one out of the way a little bit. And so you can see like there's differences in like the thickness of this piece on top. I'm not going to pretend to know the names of like all the parts of the anchor like I'm a BM or some BMs. Hit me up in the comments, teach me. But this part is thicker, same number of lines, I believe. No, actually I'm wrong. So this one has 3 like lines, vertical lines etched into it. This one has 4. So you kind of see it's like, and it's even taller, you know, like the modern day anchor is slightly bigger, right? Us Americans, we like it bigger. It's like even though, never mind. I'm not like portion sizes I was going to get into, but I just saw this thing about how Big Macs have shrunk over a long period of time. Not the point. So this one I really like because you can see the letters are more modern, but it's one piece and they're flat and smooth, which I thought was cool. So you can see, I don't know if I'll be able to get it to focus the way I want it to, but like you can see, there you go. You can kind of see like there's these little connecting pieces at the bottom of the letters. So the letters are all one piece. And on a modern anchor, they're one piece, but they cleverly make it look like the anchor chain is like they made those little connective pieces chain links instead of silver. So it's like, it's still doing it. Like the letters are still connected on this one, but yeah, they're chain links. Even on the Low Star anchor, you can see the same. It's basically the exact same anchor with the chain links doing the connective tissue part. If I can get this stupid thing to focus on whatever, you get the point. And so like this one, I love the letters on this one. It's so cool looking to me. And it's very unique. I haven't really found any other ones like that. Like this one, you see the letters are similar, but it's chain links. Like it's like their first attempt almost at making them into chain links, but they still are kind of silver because I think the color rubbed off on this one. But very similar. The lines are different though. You see like this is like this one's got like a raised line on it, on the whatever, like the shank, or I don't know what you would call it. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to make up names. I don't want to offend any of the experts, but you can see the difference. It's not like there aren't lines like engraved into it vertically. There's these raised up lines right here, and there's only one. It's like a bar almost on each side. So, and that's cool too, because as you start getting into collecting these, there's all these little tiny differences. Sorry, I'm blocking the anchors with my hand because I'm waving my hands around. I got to get used to this setup, but it's cool because there's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of things that are just slightly different. And that speaks to I got it made somewhere, you know, like I had to go to a jeweler or a distribution place, or as they started to get more into standardized, like mass production, it's probably like regional first. And then it became like a nationwide vendor like Vanguard. But so you probably see some standardization, and I don't have enough of them and haven't done the kind of research required to like know that for sure. I do want to dork out on this really hard someday, but I just haven't got that far yet. But there's a lot of like detail, like variation in detail work on these anchors. And so it's like, it's almost like challenge coins, but like that's gotten so insane because there's like 100 new coins every day that it's impossible to collect all of them. But with anchors, it's like the variations stopped. So it's like you can probably collect them all, but like you'll never know if you have them all, because a lot of the further back you go, the less standardization there was. So there's almost infinite possibilities for like small little details, like almost like coin or stamp collecting, where there's probably like little errors even where it's like you could find one that might be a one of one. And it's like, the further back you go, the more likely that is. And so it's fun for me, because I'm just like, you never know if you're gonna find something really unique as you're doing the research and like comparing them to the new ones and stuff like that. So my inner nerd is showing. All right, so I'll set this one aside. I will slide this one over. So now I think I showed you that one already. So this one is more modern. It's a one piece, like the anchor was pressed or whatever, like I was talking about before. Like the chain it's all kind of one part. The chain is no longer doing it doesn't have like the depth and where it's weaving in front of and behind the anchor anymore. It's kind of all one piece, but then you still have the raised bars here like you do, and the top part's smaller, as you can see. Like it's not as tall. And it looks a little wider, but it still has the raised bars instead of the engraved lines, right? These letters are not connected by anything, which I thought was interesting as well, right? Like it's hard to see exactly, but you can see there's no like metal or whatever connecting the letters together on this one, which again speaks to I got somebody to make it for me, and they probably just have different methods each place. And then obviously like I would assume people were like bring in an example and say, hey, I need you to make me one of these. And so some of them had bars, some of them had lines, some of them had 3 lines, some of them had 4 lines. You see where I'm getting at? And because they weren't standardized at like a factory, you get the variations in like how thick things are and how wide things are and how tall the overall anchor is. And did they decide to make it a one piece, or did they decide to weave the anchor chain or rope in and out and all that kind of stuff? So like, again, like slight variations. And you can see on this one, the letters aren't really curved. The N isn't exactly straight on this one, but I think it just kind of got knocked out of place because it's almost tilting the other direction, like kind of canted upwards. But yeah, and like I still have some where the letters curve. This one is super unique for me, because when you look at this one, besides the patina being very different, it like the top part is kind of the same. It's like you can sort of see the raised bars. I'm moving it so the light will hit it because the patina kind of camouflages it. But then the letters on this one are very unique. They're like rounded. Sorry, I got out of frame there. Not using my target. So they're like the tips of the letter it's less of the boxy style, and they're like rounded for some reason. It almost looks like somebody shaped the letters by hand, or like tried to like finish it by hand, I guess. Like almost like if you're into woodworking at all and you're like using a block plane or something to like do some or chisels to do some detail work. It looks like, sorry, I'm trying to like move towards there we go. Move closer to the camera lens. I don't know if it's going to focus on this though. Yeah, there it is. All right. But you can kind of see it, how they're rounded and stuff. But the anchor's the one piece style, looks like they pressed it. The chain is part of the anchor, like the more modern style one, but the letters are really interesting. And like, it almost looks like they painted, I don't know if this will show up on camera, but it looks like the sides of the letters are the same color as the anchor. Unlike these other ones, right? Where it almost looks like they might have just painted or like somehow colored. Maybe it's like they used metal on just I don't know. Like, I don't know how they did it, but the fronts of the letters are silver. But like on this one, like the letters are, I mean, they're silver. Well, they're not silver on the back because it looked like it rubbed off. So maybe it's just like wear. It's like a unique amount of wear in certain ways. But it like most of them, the letters are pretty uniformly silver, except for on the back. And then even some of them, yeah, I guess they all kind of, let me look at the modern one. Yeah, even the modern one, they're gold on the back, I guess. So I don't know. It's just more pronounced on this one for some reason. It's probably just wear. But I don't know. I just thought the letters were really interesting because they're more, it's almost like it started regressing back to the old style of like where they're more curved and less boxy, like university style letters or whatever you call it, like the military style print. But I don't know. I just thought that one was cool. I guess I'll do this Vietnam one before I progress to more modern style ones. So this one is interesting. It's like my understanding is this one was worn on like a jungle green garrison cap. Like, I don't think they were wearing combo covers in Vietnam. That would be silly. Maybe on like a jungle cap of some kind, like those, I don't know what they call the floppy, like jungle hats, but, yeah, like this device, I don't like, they weren't wearing it out off base. Or whatever they called them. I know they called them like FOBs in Iraq and Afghanistan, but like whatever they called the bases in Vietnam where they would be at, like I think they called them camps or something. I don't know if there's any army people or just history nerds for that period that know. Let me know in the comments. But this style I thought was interesting because at first I thought it was fake. I was like, what is that? Like, that's not real. And then I did a little research and it is real. I found it on Navy History Heritage Command back in the day, and I know it's Vietnam era. I just can't remember the exact context for where, but this one is really cool because it looks just like the style of like first class petty officer pin that you would put on like the epaulettes or whatever for your Eisenhower or your garrison cap, but it's the first class petty officer one's obviously silver. And it looks a little different because there's no rocker. But this one, the crow is sitting on the rocker. So it is a Chief Petty Officer device. And it was really cool because I didn't even know it was real when I found it. And then looked it up, and I don't know. I thought it was really neat. And my dad's a Vietnam veteran too, so like when I found this one, I just thought it was really neat. But it's not exactly an anchor, but it's so cool, and I feel like it would fit into this show and tell episode anyway, more than it would anywhere else really. All right, what haven't I shown you? I think this one, which is I don't know if I showed this one or not. This one isn't actually older than some of the other ones because it's not one piece and the anchor's wrapping around, but it's a little, you can see it's different in size and style even, because this is, again, going back to, this is more of a World War II style one here with the rope. This one is chain. This one I just pulled in, but the letters are straight like this one, which is World War II era, according to this chart. Again, like I'm not a high level expert and I'm damn sure not a historian. So like Jay Conte, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but because like they know way more about this than I do. But I should have just brought Jay on for an episode like this. But this one, and I might see if he's interested in doing an episode just talking about this heritage stuff, because that dude, I'm confident he has a very deep level of knowledge on this stuff. But this one is more intricate and has like the chain weaving in and out. So again, this might just be an anomalous made by hand, but in a more modern era style anchor, because the lettering is a little more modern. It is a chain instead of a rope. But again, I hadn't shown it to you yet. I probably got some of these out of order. And then what did we do already? I think, yeah, we did that one already. I'll show you. So I'll go into... I guess I'll compare this one to the modern one. So again, this is the one I wore. You can see they're pretty similar. The lettering's different because everything on this one is bigger. And you can see, like, here, I'll move this one out of the way and bring in another low star. You can see that the low star looks almost identical, except for the star. So like, I want to say standardization started to begin with Vanguard back then, but like, you can't even, the markings are similar on the back, but not identical. So I don't know. But then the other ones I haven't shown you. So it's kind of like they're not devices exactly, like they're built like them. And I think people wore these during World War II. I think I'd have to like go do more research, but these are, if you've ever seen, I don't know what they're called, but these are done vertically, and people will put them in their window. Like my parents had one in the window. They at one point had the 2-star one because me and my brother were both serving, and we were, overseas during a time of war kind of thing. And so like it was a thing people would hang in their window, saying like, I have family that's serving. It's just like it's representative of that, right? My understanding of these two are for family, like, so if I'm a chief and I have a family member, which my understanding is traditionally it was like children, like your kids are serving. I don't know if that's entirely accurate though. But my understanding is when that was true, that these would be worn by those people. Like, again, there's a very robust market for what are called sweetheart pins, which I'll go through these in a second, which kind of they're like brooches or brooches. I think they're called brooches. Where like a civilian, like a wife or spouse at home, or like a mom or whatever, like if your kid is out there and they're a chief, they would have a chief sweetheart pin on, or like they have submarine sweetheart pins. They have all kinds of those styles of things, and they're just these cool little design things that family members would wear as like a pride thing, like my kid is a chief serving, or my kid is a submariner serving, or my spouse is whatever serving in this arena. And so they wear that pin just as like a, I don't know, like support. Like it's almost like supporting a sports team, except, it's the military doing it. So that could also be true with these, is that these were intended to be that. The only reason I don't think that's true is because they're exactly the same size and style and design and hardware on the back as all these combo cover devices that I just showed you. So, I don't know, like I again, I need to dork out really hard and do a lot more research on this, and some of the other things in particular, but I thought they were really cool. And I'm a collect them all guy, so like I'm trying to get everything, but like this is these ones, my understanding of it is they would wear you would wear it if like your children were all serving as well, which was probably a lot more true during conflicts like Vietnam and World War II, maybe even Korea. But I believe these are World War II era. It's hard to know. And like you can kind of tell based on the designs, the markings on the back being different. That's something I should probably show you. Like these are very similar because they're from the same time period. There's very unique pattern on the back of this, which I don't know. See if I can get it to show up. There's a very unique, like, in a way it kind of looks like the deck plate, the diamond decking deck plate stuff, but yeah, I don't think it's going to focus. It's pretty, it almost looks like a sunburst on the back, if that makes sense. Maybe I can get it to focus a little bit on that. But then you've got the pinback style, like these are, right? And then you see like different markings, like this one. What does it say here? Let me get this out of the way. This one says, I think it's Bancroft, I want to say. It's really hard to read. It looks like Bancraft or Bancroft or whatever, which is just like a manufacturer. Some of them have like the jeweler markings on the back, and it'll say like, yeah, this one has different markings on the back. It'll say like sterling, right? For like sterling silver. Like I have a lot of dolphins that have that. But some of these, like this one, yeah, this one says sterling. There's probably a 0% chance I'm going to get it to show up on camera. But if you can see on the N right here, there's some writing. You can kind of see it. And it says sterling. It's like stamped in sterling, because presumably there's sterling silver. That might just be the name of a manufacturer too, though. That might just be like their maker's mark. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find one that has something. This one says sterling too. So like even this one, so like look at it. This one's pretty unique. This one's like hollowed out on the back, almost like it was stamped on a mold. And I'm not sure if the how much it picks up on camera is like where you can see the depth of it. So like this one like was stamped into like some kind of a mold where like this is all indented on the back. And you can kind of see it. you know, that one's pretty unique. I don't think I have many like that. I mean, this one is with the rounded letters. It's kind of the same. It's in a different way, but it's stamped into the back. Oh, this one is too. Check that out. This one probably shows up better on camera, where it's the back is like hollowed out almost. And then the more modern ones you'll see, so you see the difference in the way these were attached to the combination covers. So like modern day Chiefs will recognize this style, right? Where there's like a shank, like a threaded shank, and then this round thing is a nut that you just hand screw on. And then there's like a little pin back style pin right here, but you don't put a frog on it. It's just almost like alignment, you know, because you have this only. So if you just tightened this on and that's all you had there's a chance it's going to spin, right, and be crooked on your combo cover. So the pin is kind of like an alignment tool, and it's the same. This is the modern day anchor here, right? This is the one I used to wear here. So it's the exact same style. So you went from this pin back style to the more modern, where it had the hole in the threaded joint and this thing. And there's even some that have more of the original style loops on the back where you'd sew them on, right? And speaking of being sewn on, right? So I don't have any anchors that are sew on, but I do have this. And this is a style that they used to have. And you can see this is, I've seen some old black and white photos where somebody's wearing that style of an anchor. But what's interesting is you see on the cover, right? So I'll bring this old cover back in. And I'm probably gonna have to zoom out so you can see it. You see that there's this piece here, right? That's part of the top part of the combo cover, but there isn't this part of the device that loops up where the anchor goes on, right? So it's interesting for the timing of it. The placement of it is newer combo covers incorporate this up to modern day, right, where you have this piece of like felt that goes up and supports the anchor, and that's kind of where that little pin back thing grabs on to keep the anchor aligned. And so I don't know exactly how to place this, and it doesn't appear on a lot of the charts that I've found that has like date ranges and stuff. So this one, let me zoom back in for you. I forgot I did that. I forgot I zoomed out. So this one, it's more in the style of like when you go, excuse me, sorry. It's one of them days. Cancer nose has been on one. It's because the season's changing and we get like hot and cold days and it's real schizophrenic and it just messes me up when that happens. I'm surprised I haven't gotten sick yet. Knock on wood. But this style, it's like when you make Chief and you go to get your dress blues, you order your sleeve patch for your dress blues and you get to choose these tiers of like, if you get the Brooks Brothers, there's like you have to either get the like middle quality version or the high quality version, which is this style of design, kind of. I wish I had my patch handy that has this style. I have Dolphins that have it too. I forget what it's called, but it's this style of like, it's almost like embroidery, but it looks like coiled metal thread or something. If somebody's smarter than me in the comments, like, let me know. It's interesting. But they're very rare. I was really happy I found one of these because I've never seen one until I found this one. But I knew they existed from those photographs and just doing a little research on, Chief anchor history and stuff. And this style, I don't know if it was unique to a uniform. I don't know what exactly the purpose was, but it's cool. And I'm a little sad that they cut it out like that. I wish I could have got like the whole thing. But yeah, this is just another example of the variety. And I almost wonder if this isn't just like a way around paying extra for a jeweler to make you a metal one or something. Like this might be like the budget version. Even though it's the most expensive patch you can get for your dress blues, not present day. and they're really cool. I have one for, I know for my chief one, I got the Brooks Brothers. I was a single chief, no kids at the time when I made it. So I sprang for the Brooks Brothers suit and the fancy patch. And so I know I have the CPO one somewhere. I think I did it for senior chief and master chief, but I'm not sure. Because I know I was scrambling to get my master chief one because I had to do something for a court martial. And we had to wear a dress blues. So I scrambled to get a patch and just got like a budget one and threw it on my Brooks Brothers and looked ridiculous. But it's like I had to. Because I just made it and I hadn't had time to order a Gucci one yet. I did. I'm pretty sure I did eventually. But anyway, that would be a better example because you'd be able to see it better and I could compare it because it does look a little different, but it's the same style of like construction and whatever this embroidery is. They're really nice, but that's just an example of a cool one that I hadn't talked about yet. It's not exactly it's not a pin, but it is a combo cover anchor. Like you can compare the sizes here. Like here, I'll grab just a random anchor. Like they're approximately the same size. It's a little bigger actually, just slightly. I mean, it's almost like proportionally just bigger, a little bit taller. But yeah, so there's that. And then the last stuff I have for you for this show and tell. I need to do a little more research next time. I got a little excited about doing this because I finally had the camera setup stuff done. And so I probably should have done more research so I could have told you more about it. But I got a little over enthusiastic. So these are the Sweetheart pins. I don't know if am I going to be able to get this off without, I don't even know how this is attached. I'm going to leave that on this thing. This is a, I'm not sure this is a Sweetheart pin, but it's significantly smaller than, I mean, it could have been a collar device. It kind of looks like one, but it kind of doesn't. It's weird. If you could see it in real life, like it looks a lot more like a collar device on the screen than it does if you were able to hold it in your hand. Like it almost looks like a toy anchor in its design and how small it is and stuff, but it could have been a collar device. It's got the pin back on it like that. I don't know. I'm including it with the Sweetheart pins just because it looks so different in real life. But these are some examples of Sweetheart pins. So that you see this says sterling silver. I don't want to rip it off of here because I've never taken it out of the box. And I'm not exactly sure how it's attached to this little felt thing, but whatever. But these are some examples of the Sweetheart pins. Again, these are not collar devices. Even like, so you see this shank device, it's not, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe it was some weird, maybe this is like a Waves device. I don't know. I don't have the level of knowledge on that to be sure. But these are some examples of Sweetheart style devices. And when I bought them, that's how they were advertised. So that's what I know them to be. Not uniform items. Like this one is for sure not a uniform item because it's like the letters are painted red, white, and blue and stuff. But yeah, it's, and then I even have like a tie pin, like a tie bar pin here. And this is just like a clutch back pin of some sort, but that's kind of what I got. I mean, I hope this was informative and like the idea behind these episodes was just to like, excuse me, I'm feeling nauseous right now. I don't know why. Oh, sorry. It's a weird day. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm feeling nauseous weirdly right now, and I don't know why, but I don't want to puke on camera. That'd be bizarre and strange. Puke all over my anchors. But yeah, like I just wanted to do one of these show and tells this is more like an enthusiastic sharing of my cool things than it is to be meant to be like a heritage episode. Though I will do more research for the next one to try to share more information. I got a little excited, and now in retrospect, I'm like, man, I should have done more research because I do know I have done research in the past, and so like I know things, but I feel like I forgot a lot of it too. And I'm not sure if I'm right, so I should have done more research. But for future episodes of this style, I'll do a little bit more research. But it's more just to show you. I just want to share this with you, show you what's out there, and show you how cool it is. And I used to use these as props for Sailor 360 to teach heritage, and that's kind of the design of this type of an episode too, is like just so you have the ability to show these things without having to spend all the money that I spent. Because like I did tell you, I was going to tell you what I paid for some of this stuff. So I would say like anchors on average, you're looking at like $50 for a cool heritage anchor with curved letterings. That's more like a newer one because they're a lot more plentiful. But then like these older style anchors here, let me get all these sweetheart pins and stuff out of the way. So like this style or like even like this one, you're going to get into like $200-$300 for just the anchor. And then that combo cover I showed you, I own 3 of them. The one I showed on camera is by far and away the best quality. Like it's in the best condition. And it's perfect shape. Like the shape is perfect. But it's got a lot of character too. Like the visor is dented and like worn and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's immaculate as far as that. I mean, it's over 100 years old. Talking about a combo cover, like if I listed that combo cover, that one in particular, it's going to be like close to $1,000. The ones I just picked up off Jay, I want to say, I think for the 2, and I'll show them in the combo cover episode that I do. Those I think I paid like $1,200 for both, maybe $1,500, something like that. So you're looking at like $700-ish per. So those are expensive. The combo covers that you kind of see behind me a little bit, those are older ones, but they're not crazy. They're pretty. The style of most of them are, I mean, it's basically the modern design, but they're older. And I have like the aviation blue and the dress blue color, like the navy blue, and then I think I have a gray, or is it aviation gray? I think it's aviation gray, and then there's like a green one too, or maybe that's I don't know. There's a bunch of different ones. I'll do the research for the next one, so I'll be able to say that confidently. But I have a bunch of different styles of those as well, and some Garrison caps. But those ones, like that style of a cover, so you're looking at like Korean War, Vietnam War era, probably 100, 200 ish for something like that, and they have anchors on them too. So I mean, for a combo cover with an anchor, like, and you got to consider that with these old combo covers too. Like the anchor that's on this, my favorite, the nicest combo cover, the one I showed you earlier in the episode, just the anchor on that would be a couple $100. So you're probably paying like $400 for the cover itself, and then if you just bought the anchor, that anchor is going to be about $200. So, I mean, and the sweetheart ones they vary wildly. Some of them are pretty cheap. Some of them can get a little expensive because a lot of them are like sterling silver or 14 karat gold or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, it's, if you've got the disposable income and you want to collect some of them, it's cool. The coolest thing for me is when you buy like something this style, right? Or like, let's see. Maybe not that one. More like this style, like these ones. You can find these ones for like $40-$50 a lot of the times, and I like to give these away to selectees for their vessels, for the front of their vessels. It makes for a very cool visual, and it's a real piece of history incorporated into a piece of your own personal history and something that you're going to keep with you for the rest of your life. So like I paid some selectees to make my vessel, and it's got a modern anchor on it, which is cool. It's a modern combo cover anchor, but it would have been cooler if it was like this style. Like I especially like any of them that have any kind of curved lettering on them, like these, or I used to have more, but and I have some doubles. These aren't all my anchors. There's another like dozen of these in my little case, but a lot of them are very similar or effectively the same. But I do that, and I have a bunch of copies of that cookbook too, because for the same reason, I give them away to people. It's like I used to give them to my instructors when they would transfer sometimes, if I had them available, or like some of my students. Like I had a student that came and visited, and she was working for like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs at the time, and so like I was just proud of her. So I gave her a cookbook. Yeah, it's such a cool gift to give people like a piece of living history, essentially. And then it becomes part of your history, especially in the case of this style of a combo cover device, that they're very affordable. They're not like, it doesn't cost much more than like those huge anchors you would buy at the Next to put on some. So it's like, and I mean, it probably honestly doesn't even cost much more than a modern combo. Like if you went to the uniform shop and bought like the modern combo cover device like this one, right? So it's a very, very cool thing you can do for your new Chiefs. This is, for the Chiefs, really. I mean, and like anybody could buy it and just give it as a gift. Like you're a junior sailor, if you like your Chief enough, or you like your first class enough, when they get selected to Chief, you can go on eBay and get one of these for like $40-$50 and give it to them as a gift, and they can put it on the front of their vessel. It's really cool. It's a very cool thing to do, and it's a real piece of history that some other chief wore, and now you're part of that story and you get to put it on your vessel. Like, I mean, come on, like who doesn't like get all like goosebumped and like, I don't know, like the hair stands up on the back of my neck when you like that kind of stuff. Makes me, I'm a dork. I'm a history nerd, and I like heritage, and I like the you being part of the story narrative for inspiring sailors as well. So like you can get a lot of this stuff, and even like gifts for chiefs. Like you can find a lot of. I was trying to find them, but I have vintage like chief cufflinks and a tie bar and like tie. This is like a tie pin to hold your tie in place in like your blues or something. You can find a lot of the vintage style stuff like that, or even belt buckles. Like I have I'll grab, look how little my dog's behind me. Like I have a belt buckle example right here, and even like, so like dudes, like I might send one of these to Damo. So you see here, it's still in a bag. I can take it out, but it's like a vintage belt buckle, and this one is pretty beat up. I mean, it's got rust on it and patina and stuff, but it's an old vintage belt buckle. You can find things like that, and then like, that's not the vintage one. Look how low. I have a vintage low star, mid star. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, this is a mid-star one. This will be cool because this is an example of the mid-star anchor a little better too. But this is the command pin, right? And this is the mid-star anchor. And so you can see, so like the low star, it's all like the bottom point of the star is effectively touching the S. And then the mid-star, it's just a little higher up, and it's kind of covering that little hole at the top a little bit. And you can, where's that, here, you can, and it's, the proportions aren't exactly right. Like the star on the collar device is proportionally larger than the one on the combo cover device, but it's really cool. It's a really cool gift you could get somebody. You know what I mean? Like I'll probably send this to Damo because he's a command senior chief right now, and this is a mid-star pin. And like I got it because like I planned on being a cob, and so when I was looking for stuff to collect, I was like, oh, I'll buy that, and then when I'm a cob, if I'm still a senior chief, I can wear it and it'll be dope. But then I retired before doing that. So like I have like this one, and I might have one other. I think I have a Master Chief version that it's a vintage one, but it's like Master Chief anchors haven't really changed. 'Cause like this is a Master Chief anchor that I bought. And it's clearly like well worn and stuff and like older, but this looks exactly the same as like a modern Master Chief anchor, essentially. I mean, I believe it does look exactly the same, but it's just this one is seeing a lot of use, I guess. It's just like it looks old, and I thought it was cool. And I was trying, when I made Master Chief, I started looking for Master Chief stuff. It's the same thing. Like when I made Senior Chief, now that I'm part of that story, I was like, oh, let me see what cool Senior Chief stuff I can find. And I used to wear like low star anchors like this one on my combo cover, and people would like freak out because they'd be like, dude, you're wearing the wrong cover, and like you've got a chief anchor on your cover. And I'm like, no, I don't. Look closer. And they would look and they go, holy shit, like is that like an error or something? Like did you find one that's just like she just made it wrong or something? I'm like, no, dude, it's a low star anchor. Like this is the original one at the very beginning. I think they established the Super Chief stuff in like 59, But like this is the original anchor style, and the mid star is the progression of. And I think I would assume the reason they started raising the star up was the same reason people thought I had a chief anchor on still, because like when you put the low star next to like, where's my modern? Here we go. I got them all out of order now, so I can't find them as quick. But like this is the modern, the anchor I used to wear, the Chiefs anchor I used to wear. And so you can see, like, if you're a few feet away, you're not going to see that star very well. So you're going to think it's just like the same anchor, because on the modern ones, the star is very high. And so like the shape of the anchor is effectively different, like the silhouette, if you will, the outline of it is very different. And so it's pretty clear that it's a senior chief anchor. But yeah, it's fun. I loved wearing. I used to wear the collar devices too in khakis. We used to do fancy Fridays at work when I was working in an office, and so we'd wear khakis to work just cause. And it was kind of like an informal uniform inspection in a way, just make sure nobody comes in looking wildly out of her eggs or anything. But yeah, I used to wear those anchors when I'd wear my khakis too, and people would be like, the hell, like, you're a senior chief, and they'd have to get closer and they're like, oh, that's so cool, kind of like the deep wave dolphins like my buddies would wear. It's just it's cool. It's a conversation starter. Junior sailors think it's fucking cool too, man, and they'll ask all the questions and they'll want to know about it. And it's like it's an entry to having heritage style conversations, and using it as a teachable moment and all those kinds of things. And it just, there's something about this stuff that just, it makes all that Chiefs pride stuff that's junior sailors cringe at, it makes it more, like, it makes it real, and it makes it palatable and cool in a way to junior sailors, where like when you're saying it just to say it, it's cringy and kind of obnoxious. But when you can see it, like, and touch it and feel it and understand it because you're providing training on it, it's different, and it's inspiring, and it makes it seem cool, and then they want to be part of that story too. Like it installs like a certain attraction, towards those types of things. And I think it like amplifies the sense of belonging to a group as well. So like Chiefs training with stuff like this, or selectee training with stuff like this. I used to do, it was CPO 365 phase 1 back in the day, but it's Sailor 360 now, or unless they change the name again, I'm not aware. Like this kind of stuff, man, it blew him away, and it made him want to be a chief more. Like it's like, God, that's cool. I want to be part of that story. You can do the same thing with anything. Like if you collect your own heritage, like I did it with the cook stuff, I would bring that in for my students, and I'd do a day where, like, at the end of the day after I was basically done lecturing, I'd spend half an hour like teaching about our heritage, and then I'd let the students come up and look at it and touch it. I did it with my instructors. I would do the submarine dolphins, like I used to give, as each guy that worked for me earned their dolphins, I used to give them sets of deep wave dolphins, which is an insane thing to do because those are expensive. A set of deep wave dolphins could be like a couple $100, but I'm that guy, and I just thought it was cool. And so like I used to give them sets of those deep wave dolphins. And it's cool, and it means a lot to them, even if they don't understand exactly the significance behind it. It doesn't take much to explain it. And then they're just like, oh my, this is like a World War II era set of dolphins, and you're giving them to me? And it's like, it's just, you can't, it's a thing you can do that there's not any other way to accomplish that moment, and that, like, I'm struggling for the word because nothing feels appropriate. Like the motivation or the inspiration or the whatever. It amplifies a sense of belonging in a way I don't know how to do it any other way. Like that particular amplification it's just, it's so good, and it's like I think it lasts a lot, like almost forever, if not forever. Like it's one of those ones that it's like you just get so much mileage out of it. And it's so like authentic and like robust, and it just installs this sense of pride that is very hard to do any other way. So I'm going to wrap there. I just wanted to share all this because I'm a dork about this stuff, and I'm very enthusiastic about it. And yeah, I thought everybody would think it was cool. And that's really the only point of these show and tell episodes. But again, just so that you can use it as a teachable moment as well, I'll do more research for the next one so that you can, like maybe I'll redo this one in the future when I have some cooler stuff. If I get like an original, like a real version of the original device or some other cool stuff, maybe I'll do like more of a heritage topic where I teach the actual history and timelines and dates and blah blah blah. But you can find all that on Navy History and Heritage Command and some other websites as well. And it is hard to kind of discern what's sometimes with the older anchors, like where they even fall, because the further back you go, the more variation you get, and it's kind of hard to put your finger on like where exactly, like what area, because it's not like there's a date stamp on the back, But yeah, so, I hope y'all enjoyed seeing all that. I hope you enjoyed my show and tell. Again, like I just have so much to share. And now that I have like the capacity to do it with the technology, I'll start doing it. And I'm very excited to share all that with everybody. And I hope you enjoy it. With that, if you need anything from us, hit us up. Don't give up the ship podcast at gmail.com. You can Facebook message us, Don't Give Up the Ship Podcast, or you can DM us on Instagram, Reddit, or Discord at DGUTS Podcast. If you want to support us, you can go to dgutspodcast.com. There's a donate button on the upper right-hand corner of the website and a shop button that will take you to DGUTS Apparel. It's Don't Give Up the Ship Apparel. Get yourself some naval pride and heritage gear you'll actually wear in public. And then the last and probably best is patreon.com/DGUTSpodcast. Pick one of the 5 tiers. Become a member today. $5 a month is the lowest tier. You won't even notice it's gone. It helps us enormously to do things exactly like this. I don't know if I will release this as an audio-only podcast just because I don't know how you would benefit from it without the visuals of the anchors and stuff. I'll have to listen to it back and see if it would be frustrating for an audio-only listener. But yeah, it's like I can do things like this now because of you. Because of your willingness to support it. The camera I'm looking at right now that does the face video for me on YouTube, I bought with money earned through Patreon and donations and the buying of apparel, right? I don't take a paycheck from this, but like our ability, like I bought the camera, I bought the cables, I bought the thing that's holding the other camera right now. I bought the cables for that. I bought the chair I'm sitting in with, like, your all support is invaluable to our ability to expand the platform and the capacity of the platform, because this is going to get cooler as I figure out how to do this better. Like I'm going to get like a pad or something to put here so that I have everything aligned perfectly and I don't have as much derpiness of me like trying to align the thing and get it to focus. And I'll work on the focus thing too. Maybe I can set it up in a better way. And yeah, I couldn't do any of it without all of you, because I mean, this stuff's expensive. This camera I'm staring at is like $700, and that's, you all did that. I can't come out of pocket constantly for stuff like that. I got bills to pay. I got my wife to support. Nah, I mean, I don't support my wife. She's a strong, independent woman and works and earns her own money. But you know what I mean? Like I got my 2 fur babies. I got my house. Yeah, like I have expenses, and it's, you all know, it's expensive to live in this world right now. So like, I don't have the disposable income to constantly be coming out of pocket for the podcast anymore like I used to, when the world wasn't so crazy and expensive and inflation and interest rates and all that shit. But yeah, I can't even tell you how appreciative I am. And all the money gets reinvested into the platform, into capacities like this, which makes episodes like this possible. I'm going to do one where I'm reviewing a book and you'll be able to see the book on YouTube. That'll definitely be released as audio only as well, because I'll read it, but it'll give you the benefit of seeing the historical doc. Like this, I've showed it on a different podcast. I think it might've been PTSF, but this is the next like book report style or heritage podcast. It's probably going to be a book report. This is a Nav Pers release from 1959 that I got on eBay. I found it on eBay. It's fucking incredible. Like, it's such a good book on naval leadership, and it gives case studies and scenarios and stuff. And then like, it discusses it in a really, really intelligent, robust manner, references psychology, references all this stuff, has discussion questions at the end that you can use for Sailor 360, which is how I plan to deliver these episodes, so that you can use them for Sailor 360. And I just can't say enough good things about it. And it's like, you'll get to see the book as I go through it. I'll be showing you, here, let me get the stuff. I'll be here and it'll be zoomed out, but I'll be able to show you like the discussion, the different areas of the book. There's illustrations in here that are pretty cool. Like, let me show you one of these drawings. I really enjoyed the art. Like, look at that. It's got a chief standing there too with his hands on his hips, and it's called The Case of the Unmoved Files, and it's one of the case studies, and it's like, so it's really cool. Like, here, let me give you something to look at. I'll put some stuff back in here. I'm very excited. Here, I can zoom out and I'll give you guys the book. There we go. Or I guess you can just look at all that. I don't know. Here, I'll just shove this in here. But yeah, like having the capacity to do this now, I just think is so cool. And like, I'm an old guy, so I know this isn't super high speed, but it's a capacity we didn't have before, and it's all because of you. So I can't thank you all enough. And if you can support us in any way monetarily, that's great. If you can't spend the money, but you want to support us, the best way to do that right now is we need like 30. No, what do we need? I think it's only like 30 more YouTube subscribers or something like that, and not many more watch hours, and then we'll be fully monetized. Because like the next live stream, there's 2 tiers. So the next live stream, you'll be able to do like super chats and shit. But to get ads in, where you'll just have to it'll play the ad like on a normal YouTube video, but that revenue from the ad being displayed for all the viewers for free provides me income. And then that money can get reinvested in the platform as well. So like the best way where you don't have to spend money, but it can provide us with some money, is subscribe on YouTube and consume the podcast on YouTube. And you can just play the podcast on your phone through YouTube in your car and just shut your phone, like make your screen go dark and just listen to it. I don't care. I don't care if you actually watch it. With an episode like this, it would be beneficial, but yeah, it's like, it's not like you don't have to watch it, but the watch hours helps us get monetized on YouTube. So that's a great way to do it. Subscribe on YouTube and consume the podcast through YouTube if you can. You should be able to get it at work, even if that's a thing you want to do. And then, if you can't do that, just like, share, subscribe, and review on all the platforms for all the things. Just anything that'll like stoke the algorithm for us, and it helps. And then share it, like tag your friends. Follow us on Instagram, send the clips to people, send links to podcasts that you think will help people out, whatever, just anything, word of mouth even. It all helps. That's all free, and we really appreciate it. And that's it. That's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening, or in this case, probably more often watching. And don't give up the ship. Hey, shout out to all our level 5 patrons, Victoria Livingood, William McIver, and Mark Galagos. To all our other patrons, we really appreciate your support. Helps to pay all the bills, expand the platform, and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button, drop a comment down below on what you thought, and subscribe to the channel.